Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our December 19th, 2022 Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, everybody just take a second, take a look at your phones, and if the ringers are on, put them on silent so we don't have any interruptions during our presentations. Once you're done with that, if you join me in the pledge, that would be wonderful. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody. Merry Christmas. Great to see everybody. Nice full house. A little feedback. Before we start, I just want to take a second. We have a mostly fun evening tonight. We've got a card on my left here. This is from Siebert Elementary. And I just want to acknowledge the cover is by Brindley Kalo, fifth grader at Siebert. And the inside cover is a drawing of a bulldog done by Breton Brunsell, a third grader at Siebert. And then the other card that the board received, maybe it's not mine. It's me. It's from Adams Elementary, and the cover was done by Tessa Palmater, third grader at Adams. And with that, okay, we got the feed out. Mr. Hatfield, please take roll.
All right. Let's see. President McFarland.
Here.
Vice President Roush.
Here.
Secretary Hatfield is here. Treasurer Lauterbach.
Here.
Member Baker.
Here.
Member Blasey.
Here.
Member Frazee.
Here.
Everyone is coming.
Okay, thank you. Moving into item 2, item 2, we have our consent agenda. Item 2.1 is approval of the minutes from our November 21st meeting. 2.2 is approval of the payment of the school's bills in the amount of $6,870,141. Item 2.3 is authorization for legal payments as indicated on the agenda. With that said, I'll accept the motion.
Make a motion to approve items 2.1 through 2.3 of the consent agenda.
Support. Motion by Mr. Roush, support by Mr. Hatfield. Any discussion regarding items 2.1 to 2.3? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up are our shining stars. Item 3.1, Mike.
Yeah, a little bit disorganized here, so give me a second. So, Jesse Studebaker, if you would come up and join me. You get to stand here, and then we'll let you shake everybody's hand after, Jesse. So, we'll read a little bit about you first. Jesse's MPS journey began in 2015 when she started her employment as a paraprofessional at Siebert Elementary, where she worked in the EI classroom. After the EI program was moved, Jessie became the Media Center paraprofessional at Siebert. And from there, she moved into her current role as office professional for special services in the Juvenile Care Center. Jessie attended Delta College and was also the owner-operator of an in-home daycare prior to employment with MPS. Jessie was nominated for a Shining Star by MPS colleagues. Among their comments were the following. Jessie comes to work every day with a positive attitude. She shows up for her team on a consistent basis with a willingness to help in any situation. Jessie splits her time between special services and the juvenile care facility, and the balance is seamless. She supports our staff in such a way that things are taken care of before someone even asks for assistance. We are so blessed to have her on our team. Congratulations, Jessie. I think we're going to go around the back of these. We'll change this up a little bit.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Alyssa Brown, if she would come up and join me. We'll do the same thing, Alyssa. Alyssa joined the MPS team in 2019 as a resource room teacher at both Plymouth and Siebert Elementary. She is currently a full-time resource room teacher at Chestnut Hill Elementary. Alyssa earned a master's degree in teaching from Saginaw Valley State University. Alyssa was nominated for a Shining Star by MPS colleagues. Among their comments were the following. Alyssa's contributions to the well-being of the educational community and to a positive environment that is motivating and inspiring to others is top-notch. She always goes above and beyond what is expected in the usual school day and cares for not only each student in her classroom, but every person in our school community. Alyssa is always there to lend a hand, even with students who are not on their caseload. While she is planning and teaching individualized lesson plans for her students, she manages to make other students and staff feel supported. Alyssa assists teachers in creating plans for students to succeed in the classroom and volunteers to be a check-in for many students. Congratulations, Alyssa. And we'll do the same thing around the back if that works better.
All right, now we've got presentations by Jefferson and Northwest First Tech Challenge teams. I'm not sure how you guys want to. I'm sorry, Northeast. Excuse me. In the list here is Jefferson Side Dogs first. I don't know if that's the order we're going to follow. So, Joe, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to give you a summary report on our first robotics team, their learning journey for this season. So we have 5 teams, 3 teams from Jefferson and 2 teams from Northeast. From Jefferson, we have Side Dogs, Carpenter Huskies, and then Wild Wolves. From Northeast, we have Viking Vendors and Viking Warriors. So that's going to be the sequence for the presentation. And first, let's invite Raymond to give you a preview of the game of the season.
So this year's First Tech Challenge theme was called Power Play. The goal of the game is to stack as many cones on the junctions as possible to earn points. Next, the Side Dogs will talk about this season. Good evening. We are the Jefferson Side Dogs FTC robotics team. We are a culturally diverse team of 11 boys and 1 girl. This year, we have focused on team building, team goals, and outreach, as well as building and improving our robot Scooby. We have 3 rules: safety, gracious professionalism, and have fun in robotics. Our plan has been to do a lot of outreach, to do fundraising, and build a competitive and innovative robot. This year, we have learned how to get younger children interested in FIRST, and also the importance of positive learning behaviors like listening and teamwork.
Our robot is called Scooby. The team brainstormed our design requirements for the robot: fast, nimble, strong, reliable lift, and a very grippy cone grabber. The team practiced match strategy with human robots acting as robots controlled by the drive team. We have kept the design simple and used off-the-shelf materials so it is easy to build, maintain, and is reliable. The team learned how to use Tinkercad and design parts for 3D printing, working with the MSU St. Andrews extension. The big learning we had during the season is that while 1 lift worked, 2 lifts were better, making our robot more stable and easy to drive, allowing us to be more competitive.
Our goal has been to spread FIRST values and get children interested in STEM and robotics. We have also focused on fundraising to support this season and create a budget legacy for next season's Side Dogs. We have also supported FIRST activities in MPS. For STEM outreach, we attended and demonstrated our robot at the MPS First LEGO League Explore Exposition with 2nd and 3rd graders. We have supported and helped coach an FLL team, the Woodcrest Circuit Breakers, and we demonstrated our robots at the recent MPS First LEGO League mock tournament. We have done a lot of community outreach this season. During the summer, we demonstrated our robots in the STEM tent at the Dow Great Lakes Bay Golf event. We also dropped the puck at the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Robotics Night, and for fundraising, we arranged a spaghetti dinner event at the American Legion in Midland.
During the season, we have learned a lot. How to work as a diverse team, generate new ideas, and how to practice positive behaviors. During our outreach, we discovered that many children are interested in STEM. We showed our community that FIRST is more than just robotics. It also includes personal learning, teamwork, and sharing our experiences with our community. We have plans for the off-season, too. More outreach, and especially recruiting more girls into our team. We will also work with other FTC teams in Midland to implement an off-season learning program and develop further STEM skills. We've had fun this season and want to thank MPS Board of Education for all of the support provided to the robotics teams.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Then, Techno Huskies.
Hello, we are the Jefferson Techno Huskies. This year on our team we had 14 students, 9 of which were 8th graders, 4 were 7th graders, and 1 was a 6th grader. It was culturally diverse with 4 girls and 10 boys. Our goal was to practice gracious professionalism, which is basically just trying to be kind to all people while still being competitive, inclusion and safety while learning how to work on a robot. To achieve these goals, we had 3 coaches, Coach Joe, Tim, and Bob, who's not here today. These coaches helped us through our goals a lot, and they helped us maintain a good culture within the team. Next, Josh Wants will talk about the robot.
So we named our robot Hank the helicopter. In Auton, Hank can recognize our team sleeve image, and he can reach every junction in both Auton and Telyop. His unique features are he has an H-shaped chassis with a 4-stage slide attached to it, and a rotatable lightweight arm, and a custom-made gripper claw. The advantages we have with him are he's lightweight and agile. Next, Raymond will talk about our outreach and impact.
We outreach to technical and non-technical communities this season. For outreach to technical communities, we invited 4 STEM experts as guest mentors and learned sustainability, renewable energy, control systems, and 3D printing from them. We also toured Dow's labs and toured research laboratories in chemistry at Calvin University. Lastly, we also attended the Michigan Space Grant Consortium annual research conference in Ann Arbor. For outreach to non-technical communities, we promoted FIRST Robotics and demonstrated our robot in 6 community events, outreach and fundraising to businesses and in our neighborhoods, and helped start the first FLO team in the Bay City district with Mackinson Elementary. Next, Derek will talk about accomplishments and lessons learned this season.
So we had quite a few accomplishments. So at the Freeland qualifier, we earned first place Think Award and third place Inspire Award, and because of that, we double qualified for state level competition. And at the Pelston qualifier, we got the first place Motivate, second place Connect, and second place Control Award. At states, we ranked 19th out of 36 in our division, and sadly, we did not earn any awards. We also learned a lot of lessons. So we learned about how to help other FDC teams in our area to better practice gracious professionalism. We also learned that teamwork and time management are really important, and that the hard work from doing that is rewarded. We also want to express our appreciation to you guys, MPS, first, all the volunteers, our coaches, our parents, and all of our sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good evening. We're the Wired Wolves from Jefferson. So we were almost a rookie team this year with only 2 students returning, 1 girl and 11 boys, made up of 7th and 6th graders, so we'll be a great team for next year. 3 coaches, as well as the team demonstrated gracious professionalism and building community across the FIRST program. The robot's capabilities, we recycled the chassis from a previous year, so we were trying to utilize features that we already had with a custom gripper, both 3D printed, which became very fragile, and they pivoted to one that they had to build themselves. It was a very agile and quick robot. We did qualify for states this year by winning the Connect Award at the Freeland qualifier, and at states they had a great time. They didn't advance beyond that. Many lessons learned. The kids learned to be gracious, professionalistic, and we learned from other FTC teams in the area to do some of the things that the children hadn't known before, and teaching each other in the FIRST family was a great thing. So we want to thank all our the school district, our parents, volunteers, and sponsors, and then a few of them have some words to share.
I'm very glad that I joined this team. This year it was very fun and enjoyable. At our competitions, It was both competitive and fun. I got to do programming and building and try out a lot of new things and make a lot of friends and work with them. Thanks Coach Dan for coaching us and all the support.
Hello, my name is Eric New. I'm a sixth grader with the Wired Wolves. I just want to talk about how I just had a great experience, how we have overcame and adapted to challenges, like our canal breaking a few days before competition. And most of all, we had a lot of fun, and I want to thank everyone that helped us on our way. And on to Noah.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vivian, and this is Sam. We represent the Northeast Viking Vendors, a team made up of 7th and 6th graders, no 8th graders, and only 4 returning 7th graders. Both of our coaches were new to FTC, and we learned a lot. Our goals for the year were to be gracious professionals and learn new robotics skills. We also wanted to be resilient.
Our discovery process tested multiple competing chassis designs and rotating arms, extending arms, and different mechanical pieces. We went and 3D printed and CAD'd many parts of our robot, including our grippers, and our robot is mechanically robust. Outreach. We have competed in 4 competitions, including the state championships last weekend, where we placed 12th in our division, and we did the math, 25th out of 72 teams. We worked in sub-teams to get this robot done faster so we could practice. In our competitions in Freeland, we placed 2nd in the Innovate Award. Bedford, it was just a bad day for us, and it just didn't go our way. We did our best, but it didn't go our way. But in Big Rapids, we did the best we've ever done as a team. At least for me, I'm a returner, so we got 1st in Connect Award, 2nd in Inspire, and our Northwest States Advancement. Inclusion, every team member did get to drive, which is a big accomplishment for all of them. And then over the off season, we collaborated with our sister team, and they competed in the all-girls event. And of course, fun, we got to work with our peers, and we had a pool party at States.
Nice.
At Bedford, our first partner did not have a working robot, and we gave them a working chassis, and so they could be able to push cones into the terminals. And we learned several new skills like CAD, 3D printing, and block coding. And we didn't have a lot of success early on, and we had to keep on trying and learning in order to advance to states.
Thank you. Now, Viking Warriors.
Hello. We are Team 12722, the Northeast Viking Warriors, and our team this year was made up of 11 students, 4 6th graders, 4 7th graders, and 3 8th graders. We also had 4 girls and 7 boys on our team. We had many goals for this year, including reaching all 3 junction heights, detecting a custom sleeve using machine learning, and creating a beacon for extra points. Our robot has many capabilities. It can recognize custom sleeve images, reach every junction, and it also has motor encoders. Our unique and innovative features include we use mecanum wheels, we have a chain 4-bar, a rotatable claw wrist position, gecko wheel used for claw grip, wheelie bar so it doesn't tip over, bungee cords, and we can pick up cones that have fallen down. The advantages to our robot, we have rapid rotation, we can go to rapid arm height positions using encoders, and we can also strafe.
Some of our achievements is that we were the captain of the finalist alliance at the North Branch qualifier. We also won third place at for the Innovative Award. We also got to the Southeast States competition. Over the summer, the girls of our team and Team 9931 collaborated to go for an all-girls competition at Kettering University. We won 2 trophies, the Superstar and the second place. We also connected with MSU St. Andrews for CAD and 3D printing workshop. We also reached out to the 5th graders of the first LEGO League outreach. We had multiple arm designs, claw design, beacon designs, and we also used a reliable robot positioning mechanism. For programming and 3D design, we used Tinkercad, FTC machine learning toolchain, and block programming. Some of the ways we showed gracious professionalism was we helped the vicious Vassar Vulcans repair their claw for the first qualifier at North Branch. We also helped the Techno Wizards create an autonomous program for their robot at the Michigan FTC State Championships.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for presenting your learning journey. Do we have a few minutes for questions? I think maybe a few. But before we do that, I'd like to give a special shout out to first Great Lakes Bay Region First Robotics organization. Annette did a fantastic job herding us into this direction because at some point, all of us are new to this program. But Annette really showed us the way and lead us the way. So we thank you for that. Also, thank you, MPS, for all your support, for the great facilities. I know other districts may not have the luck to do that. And as we work with the Saginaw School team, we showed them our facility. They wowed. Wow, you have so much support from your school district. So we thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Any questions, comments?
Oh, yeah. I'm always just blown away by this presentation. You know, first because of what the students get to experience. You know, I love hearing about the professionalism, the fun that they have, but more importantly, resiliency, teamwork. And it's always amazing to me the experiences learned by helping out other teams. You know, you're talking about the Vassar team that you helped out and how much the kids learn from that. You know, and then where my mind started going was your comments around mentoring and coaching, especially at the elementary school level, and continuing to build the pipeline of more kids in. What do you think would be the number one thing as a board we can do to continue to help build the program?
From our coach's mind or from the student's mind?
Either one, yeah.
Both. We'll start with coaches.
Yeah, coaches first, maybe.
I think I can answer one thing. So one of the things that's clear as we're trying to, improve the diversity and make people more comfortable here is if you look around, a lot of the coaches are men. All the coaches are men. I think we have, in other teams, we've got some moms that maybe help out, but when we get the girls come in and they're on our team, 11 boys and 1 girl, and bless her heart, she's all in. But it's 11 boys, 1 girl, all men parents. I think we need to really encourage getting a few more
moms or women into the coaching, or at least the mentoring. I think that's one thing that we could really use support with.
I certainly echo that, and we have been trying hard to recruit more girl students onto our teams. Also trying hard to recruit more female mentors. But on top of that, what I want to say is that we'd like to have your continuous support for the facility, because right now, for this season compared to last season, we are a little bit unfortunate because we lost the gym for setting the practice field. And this season is really chaotic, because if you want to meet in that room and then other teams need to practice in the field, it's kind of chaotic. So that's, I hope that we can have a better arrangement in somewhat. I know it's limited by the funds, but I hope that we can work out with some solution to that. Any other suggestions?
How did we lose the gym? I'm curious. What is that? State Street?
So we're
Third
moving
grade.
the test track. So the test track has been set up in the gymnasium since they moved over to Carpenter.
Oh, okay.
But with the growth of Carpenter, with the number of sections in PE classes during the winter, we took the Jefferson pool, if you recall, and filled it. And it's done now, and so they're moving their track over Christmas break into the pool area. So it works, but the logistics of that is a little more difficult for them to go test than just down the hallway. But the good thing is, both programs continue to grow. They're rebounding from where they were because of COVID. But the size of our robotics, the number of teams we have in the district is phenomenal. And so if you recall, they started at Franklin Center, which is no longer around. We moved them over to Carpenter along with the pre-primary center and the pre-primary center. As we add sections, is beginning to encroach into their hallway where they were at. And so at some point, we'll have to continue to explore facilities for them. I've even thought about, at some point, look at some of these vacant commercial buildings, and would that be something we could work on as well? But we don't want it to go away, and we fully support it, and I think I speak for all of you on that. It's just fabulous what we do here, so we can continue to find facilities in some way for the district. The good problem is we're growing, and that's.
One thing I would say is perhaps better coordination with curriculum in the schools. So, for example, there is a robotics class at Jefferson that my son took, and it was a different level, different skills. It would be great to see more connection. Now, I do want to be careful that I don't think this should become a class that is mandatory associated with the program. This is an extracurricular. But I would love to see ways that more of these principles could be built into the curriculum that we can build off of, that we can use, that we can benefit from as coaches and mentors.
How about any of the students?
Well, as a student in the Jefferson robotics team, we've always had to fundraise ourselves and stuff, which is a really essential part of robotics, and we will continue to do. But money is always appreciated. I feel like everyone in the world can say that, but as just your continuous support with financials and facilities would be very appreciated. But I'm not telling you to completely cover all of our costs, obviously, because that's part of our responsibility. We're supposed to.
How much are your costs? How much did you have to fund?
This year we fundraised $3,000, I think, and we had $3,000 saved up, something around that. Right?
So at one time, Dow, along with other partners, contributed funds through the Great Lakes Bank. You guys step in when I say this wrong, because you probably know better than me. And we've had tremendous support from outside. In fact, when we first pulled the Science Center out of Franklin, the energy at Franklin, when they used it, was paid by the grant as well. But I'm not sure if the grant's still in existence or not on that portion of it. And so, but when they moved into Carpenter, since we already have programming in there, they're in there, energy's covered, the facility's covered, all those pieces. They clean themselves over in their area, but the facility there is pretty good. I think probably your fundraising is probably travel and for the machine.
Yeah, for parts, for registration of competition, like that, yeah. We do get the funding from Great Lakes Bay Region First Robotics Program. We got funding from Dow, from POM next year, and the Michigan Department of Education.
Yeah.
Are the teams for fundraising, are the teams individual entities?
Yes.
You know, they're like nonprofits or?
Yeah, I think we go through the school account, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, each team has a separate account.
Okay.
How about this young man behind you?
Yes, sir. Okay.
So my dad, our coach Tate of 9931, he is an FLL coach, and we are starting to lose support from the 3rd and 2nd graders coming up into 4th and 5th grade. So we're worried that we might actually lose one of our feed-ins to our school. So maybe some more support in the elementary schools to try to get more of the younger students an idea of what robotics is like in FLL level. And so when they come up to FTC, they might be able to like enjoy it a little bit more than I did in my first season.
What's the FLL?
So that's the elementary level program.
It's Lego robotics.
Okay.
And so pre-COVID, we had more teams. I think we still have at least one at every school. Yeah, I think we've maintained that, but less teams at each school. So therefore, through attrition, they lose a few of them. So it is a concern, I think, where we are at presently at the elementary. But
can I just say variable? In Woodcrest, we've had 3 4th, 5th grade teams, 8 2nd and 3rd grade teams. It's variable. And I think it's just trying to make sure it's consistent through all the elementary schools, because it does feed through to FDC in that process.
yeah, in fact, if you remember when Jerry Wassman was still on the board, he was concerned about our more high poverty schools, and did we need to bus them to the robotics center, or did we need to do it at the elementary? So Jerry was really passionate about this as well. And so I think we have to continue to look at that. But Central Park struggles a little bit, and I think Plymouth at times does, but we'll have to continue working on those pieces of it.
Another thing is that from the high school mentors that mentored the middle schoolers, it's like, from what their perspective, it's like really important to them that they're helping us. So I feel like it'd be kind of important for us to help the elementary schoolers and just connect with them, to let them know what we do in middle school, so then they'll know like what a great experience it is when they get into middle school, and why they want to keep going through the first competitions.
They mentioned Annette earlier, and Annette is the driver right now, I would say, and the organizer. We had Sudi for a while. Sudi not involved anymore? She still is? Yeah. Yeah. So without some of those people, this thing would not be what it is, and so we're very lucky to have that.
So I just want to add on to what Cameron said. So fundraising isn't so much just out of necessity. I also feel like it's a kind of important part of the program, because without fundraising, you don't get any social interaction outside or spreading first in STEM around the community. So grants are appreciated really a lot, but fundraising I feel like is also like part of first, because you have to go around and you have to spread first. And yeah.
So Penny writing it down when you were talking about tying the curriculum. So Project Lead the Way is our curriculum, I think, what they're mentioning, and there probably is a better connection maybe at the elementary to tie into this. So something we can work on.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
One more.
Now, I personally think that the robotics is, I guess, under advertised, as I went through the entirety of elementary and 6th grade without even hearing a single word of robotics even being in the area. So when I caught wind that there was some robotics teams, I decided to dig a little bit deeper, and after some researching, I found the robotics teams. But again, that took catching on to what people are talking about, and not, at least I believe, not many people have either the time or or at least pay even attention to what can be going on outside of school. So I think school can kind of take over your mind, and you don't really get to see this wide world of outside of school.
Absolutely right.
Thank you.
Come on up.
I think a better thing would be to make it easier to like sign up for robotics because sometimes it can be really hard to get into a team. And so I think maybe you guys could put a sign up register fee on the main website so more people can sign up and it'll be easier.
Great idea.
Yep.
Thank you.
I also have noticed that my school, they have a big display case in Jefferson Middle School. All the awards, there's no awards really for robotics. It's all just other sports like basketball, football, all that other sports. But like I feel like our school doesn't really like appreciate and is proud about our robotics team, you know. And I'd really like some more school representation, maybe trophies or saying more stuff on the announcements.
Got some things to work on.
Sure do.
I just would like to make a comment. I learned tonight I love the term gracious professionalism, and I think each one of you have exhibited that tonight, and that will take you a long way. I am amazed and appreciate you even just coming up and sharing your ideas with us. So thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming tonight. This was a wonderful presentation.
Yeah. And our board meetings are really exciting, but you really don't have to stay if you don't want to. So.
Yeah, we can take a minute if you guys want to clear out. What's that? Yeah, I don't know. It's exciting stuff. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good seeing you. Merry Christmas. Great job, guys.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's been a couple years since they drove a robot around on the floor.
You need the computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We did at LOL, the first Lego movie. I was hoping it's cool, yeah.
Sebastian did it for a season when I think he was in 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade, and he liked it, but it was so involved. I mean, I don't know if it was just the team that he was on, but they practiced like 4 nights a week. They got together, and I mean, it was really intense. Okay, we're going to move on. That brings us to item 3.3. This is an action item, Mr. Jaster.
Yep. Thank you, President McFarland. This is an action item for expulsion of student A. The board subcommittee met on November 30th, 2022 regarding student A to consider expulsion for the remainder of the 22-23 school year. Student A was originally suspended for 10 days for illegal possession and distribution on school property. The recommendation of the board subcommittee is that student A be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year. This action item will require a vote by the board. A copy of the full resolution is attached to the board agenda.
Okay, thank you. I will accept the motion.
So moved.
Support. Motion by Mr. Frazee, support by Mr. Roush. Any additional discussion regarding item 3.3? Okay, Mr. Hatfield, please take a roll call.
All right, President McFarland?
Yes.
Vice President Roush?
Yes.
Secretary Hatfield is yes. Treasurer Lauterbach?
Yes.
Member Baker?
Yes.
Member Blasey?
Yes.
Member Frazee?
Yes.
Okay, the motion unanimously carries. That that will bring us up to item 3.4. This is the superintendent's evaluation. Mike, as you know, your contract is reviewed and renewed by the board on an annual basis to maintain the length of the term and to ensure that your compensation package is competitive and in line with your performance and compensation levels of both your peers locally and similar districts across the state. You and I have discussed the remaining terms of your employment contract, which is presently in place. Notably, Mike, this year, with an eye toward retirement, you have not requested to extend the length of your contract, as this board has done in the past. And additionally, you have not requested any increase in benefits. In fact, the only change that you requested to your current contract is a date change from September to July for item number 6 in your contract relating to retirement and deferred compensation. In performing your annual review, the board utilizes the Michigan Association of School Boards research-based and MDE certified evaluation instrument. This evaluation tool has 5 domains and uses a rating score of 1, which is low, to 4, which is high. The 5 domains, which make up 40% of your total score, are governance and board relationships, community relations, staff relations, business and financial, and instructional leadership. 60% of your total score, per the Michigan School Code, is based on a student growth metric that aligns with teachers and administrators. Each domain area rating is supported by both artifacts and evidence of your performance and achievements of the district. The Board of Education has concluded that a total rating of 4, highly effective, has been achieved. The total rating is based on individual domain ratings of a 4, which are highly effective, in each domain, including student achievement. The proposed change to your contract has been provided to each board member in advance of this meeting. And with that said, I will accept the motion for item 3.4. This is the adoption of the superintendent's evaluation.
I move adoption of item 3.4, the superintendent's evaluation. I'll support.
Motion by Mr. Lauterbach, support by Mr. Hatfield. Any additional discussion regarding the evaluation? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Next is item 3.5, continuing. This is the annual review of the superintendent contract. Again, we are talking about the just change in item number 6 from September to July.
Make a motion to approve item 3.5, the review of the superintendent's contract.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Roush, support by Mr. Lauterbach. Any additional discussion regarding item 3.5? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Mike, thank you.
And thank the 7 of you, and as always, I give evaluation ratings to the 3 others in the room and then the many, many, many other employees behind us in this district. So thank you very much.
Okay, next up, we have requests to address the board, and I have 3 names on here. It looks like the first is, I'm having a hard time reading, is it Sarah and Viv? Sarah and, maybe it's just somebody that signed in that was attending. They have robotics as a topic, so I'm assuming they were attending. Okay, then that brings us to Mr. Bonadis. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Hello. I have 2 topics tonight. I'm really sorry I was not at the last meeting, but I was at the hospital with my father, and I couldn't put it then. You may want to address this, or it may be historical, I'm not sure. As Mr. Lauterbach eloquently described during the library debate forum, you have one employee, the superintendent. Well, that employee used his official Twitter account to endorse the 2 incumbent candidates and 1 other prior to the November election. 2 with a full MPS header at the top of the page, which he has since scrubbed. He did the same on Facebook, but that was clearly identified as private, no problem. Is the Twitter behavior a violation of his role as far as endorsing as a public official within his own reporting structure? See your bylaws 4217B. Since the 2 incumbents won their election, one of those incumbents apparently voted on an evaluation and compensation package for the superintendent 13 days after the election in closed session. Was there any quid pro quo here? Should Mr. Roush have recused himself in the matter? it might be a good idea to revisit that review and expunge any input from the 2 re-elected board members and have another vote where you recuse them. But you can do what you want. Second, out in the public, there is concern of rising inflation and recession depending on if you believe the government definition or not, and the high cost of living. But here, in the education system, there has been learning loss and the need to add multiple layers of social and emotional learning counselors because of damage, which is usually allegedly caused by COVID. I would propose that an alternate explanation. What we are looking at is a dramatic illustration of the high cost of lockdowns. Your June 20th agenda package had your new 28-page plan for shutting down the classrooms again and going virtual. It was not discussed at that meeting, nor any subsequent meetings in the public. So we know you have a plan. Maybe you can stop taking government grants with the strings attached that say you will shut down on command. I leave you with a quote from Thomas Sowell, the famous economist. He was thinking in general terms when he wrote that, quote, "Much of the social history in the Western world over the past 3 decades have been a history of replacing what worked with what sounds good." Thank you.
Mrs. Bonadies.
Good evening. I've been attending these meetings for 18 months now. I've stated my opinion, many facts and observations over that time. It has been 1 year since the superintendent made a change to the agenda and added these 3 paragraphs, a rather threatening wording, to the public comment section. This was originally done because of the larger than normal turnout last fall and the issues surrounding the mask mandates. Those days were over in December of 2021. However, the threatening language was never removed. It is not in the Michigan Open Meetings Act. It's not in the MPS bylaws or anywhere else for that matter. Why has it continued? Last month, it was noted that for the first time in almost 2 years, no one had signed in to even make a public comment. Yes, a couple did end up speaking, but what's the real message? Is this board and the superintendent happy that they are silencing the voice of the community? Have you refused to address public comments for so long that the voices have grown weary? Is this really fulfilling the part of the bylaws that state that this is the responsibility of this board and the superintendent to work with the parents and the community? Where is that in the goals for this superintendent? Are there only select portions of the parent groups and community members that really matter? Further, there have been a couple of meetings that the president decided during public comment to not call the speakers by the order in which they were registered. I'm not sure the reason for doing this other than to show he does not have to follow any perceived rule. Why would he call people in random order instead of top to bottom as they signed in? Just to show the attendees that he has the power to manipulate things however he chooses? Perhaps it's time to take a long, hard look at where this board and the district are going in the new year. Is it time to go back to the Board of Education will receive public comment on the agenda? There was even a time a couple years back when the minutes reflected who spoke during public comment. I guess a lot has changed in the last 2 years, and I would say not for the better. I'll continue to pray for this board and superintendent as you begin a new year. Thank you for your time, and have a Merry Christmas.
Anybody else wish to address the board? Okay, we'll close the floor. That moves us to item 5.1. We have study committee minutes from Lynn. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe there was no meeting. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah's got it.
Alrighty. We did meet on November 21st, and members present were myself, John Hatfield, and Penny Miller-Nelson, and Mike Sherrill. Our guests were Tracy Speaker Gerstheimer and Kim Funnell, and we met here at the administration building at 1:30. The first topic was Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Update. The Midland High Human Library event is scheduled for November 23rd, and Dow Highs will be in February. This experience promotes inclusion and is specific for 12th grade students who have parent permission to engage. Staff professional learning will continue for the January professional development session. Next, we talked about the major change proposals. The committee reviewed the major change proposals currently being considered for implementation in fall 2023. These proposals may be presented to the Board of Education for information at tonight's board meeting and then for action at the January board meeting. And finally, procedure update. The committee reviewed the updated procedure affiliated with Board Policy 5407, complaint about library material. The procedure now includes opportunities for student and parent involvement. We adjourned at 2:20, and we will meet again in January.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Next up, item 5.2, this is information only, major change proposals. Ms. Miller Nelson.
Good evening. As Lynn read in the minutes, we have two proposals for your consideration tonight. These are for information, and as always, these will come back to you after the 28-day wait period. Anyone who wishes to engage in more learning about these are welcome to stop by my office, and we can do that. The first proposal we have is a middle school proposal for pre-algebra. More specifically, this proposal will eliminate the Math 8 course, and it will create two new courses, a pre-algebra A and a pre-algebra B. And this really will improve our learning progression towards success in algebra. So we're working toward creating a better pathway for students to be successful as they enter algebra. The total cost for that is just over $8,000, and that is primarily compensation for teachers outside of their contract day to do some planning and learning around those two new courses that we'll develop. Lots of support for that one among teachers and our middle school administrators. The second proposal we're very excited about is to create a new high school course called Future Teachers of Tomorrow. You might know that the Department of Education has released considerable grant money through their Future Teachers program, the Grow Your Own, any way that they can get folks interested in teaching careers. And one of those opportunities is to create new courses for students. So we are proposing to create a new high school course. This will be an opportunity to learn more about the career of teaching and do some initial preparation, which could lead into a career and technical education experience. The total cost for the development and implementation of this course is $29,780, and should we receive that grant, it will almost entirely be covered by that grant. So again, the cost of these proposals include all the anticipated expenses, and these will come back to you for your action at the January board meeting. Of course, they're all pending final budget approval when that happens in the spring, and anyone who's interested in learning more can reach out to me. Thanks.
Thanks, Penny. All right, moving into FFO, we have study committee minutes from December 5th. Mr. Lauterbach.
Hey, Scott, I had a quick question for Penny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad.
Who would teach future teachers of tomorrow? Who would teach where would that fall? In what group?
So we have started to explore that. We understand that anyone with a valid teaching certificate could teach that. We'll wait and work on that through the staffing process. Clearly, we want to identify a teacher who has a lot of enthusiasm and passion, as most of ours do. And then we'll kind of co-create the curriculum for that. So to be direct, it will work itself out through the staffing process.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Lauterbach with minutes.
Thank you, Scott. The FFO committee met on December 5th. I was present, as was Brad, Phil, Mike Sherrill, Brian Brutin, and we had a guest, Penny Miller Nelson. October financials were reviewed. There were no significant year-to-year variances of note. Purchase card and purchase orders over the bid threshold were reviewed. Bus purchase. Bids were solicited for the purchase of 6 new buses. The administration will recommend the award to Midwest Transit. If approved, bond funds will be utilized for the purchase. Security cameras. The administration will recommend the purchase and installation of 40 additional security cameras throughout MPS. If approved, bond funds will be utilized for the purchase. Plymouth roof. Bids were solicited for roof replacement at Plymouth Elementary. Administration will recommend the award to Brycar Roofing. If approved, bond funds will be utilized for the purchase. MPS Pool, the committee discussed signage and naming of the facility. Facility study, a general timeline for the completion of the ongoing facility study was discussed. A report to the committee is anticipated in February or March. Our January FFO meeting was canceled due to a scheduling conflict. And our next meeting will be Monday, February 6th at 5 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we've got a series of action items, many of which were just alluded to, and starting off with item 6.2, bus purchase, Mr. Bruton.
Yep, thank you, Scott. As mentioned in the FFO minutes, we did accept bids and provided a tabulation in your packet for the purchase of 6 new buses. Providing just a little bit more detail, this includes 2 77-passenger buses, the ones that have the child seats, 2 77-passenger buses that have the carriage storage bins, usually utilized by our athletic teams, and then 2 conventional 77-passenger buses. We do recommend issuing the purchase order to the low bidder. That was Midwest Transit of Eaton Rapids, Michigan, for a grand total of $729,094. And if you do give this your approval this evening, we will utilize bond funds for the purchase.
Okay, thank you. I will accept the motion for item 6.2.
Make a motion to approve the bus purchase for $729,094.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Roush, support by Mr. Lauterbach. Any additional discussion?
Brian, speaking of inflation, the last time we bought a bus, how much did it cost?
Not this much.
90,000? Is that a?
Yeah, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think it was somewhere between 15 and 20% up from the last time.
Okay.
And we are also ordering these about 2 or 3 months earlier than we typically do, just to get ahead of the supply chain issues that we anticipate. We're hoping to have them by beginning of next school year.
Thank you.
For inspection time.
Okay. Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, 6.3, this is the Plymouth roof. Mr.
Yes, we did accept bids to replace 41,715 square feet of roof at Plymouth Elementary School. We do recommend awarding the project to the low bidder. That was Brycar Roofing and Sheet Metal of Auburn, Michigan, for the grand total of $371,143. And if it does have your approval this evening, we will utilize bond funds to fund that project.
Okay, I will accept the motion for item 6.3.
I move the adoption of item 6.3, awarding the contract to Brycar Roofing and Sheet Metal in the amount of $371,143.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Lauterbach, support by Mrs. Baker. Any additional discussion for item 6.3? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 6.4, security cameras. Mr. Bruton.
Yeah, we seek your approval this evening to deliver a purchase order to Presidio. They are out of Wixom, Michigan, for a grand total of $101,790.67. This will cover 40 security cameras and also a server. The cameras are going to be placed throughout the pre-K through 5 buildings and also at Central Auditorium. This pricing comes from the State of Michigan REMC bid. It does follow your board purchasing policies. And if this is approved this evening, we will utilize bond funds to fund this project as well.
Okay, thank you. I will accept the motion for item 6.4.
Move the adoption of item 6.4, awarding the purchase order to Presidio of Wixom for $101,790.67.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Lauterbach, support by Mr. Roush. Any additional discussion?
What's the time frame for installation?
I'll defer to Mr. Diedzik. Do you have a better estimate than I would?
So most of the, that was really hot, sorry. Most of the parts are already available. The server will take a few weeks though, a month. That was the one that takes the most. But we had to order a server because on average you have 100 cameras per server. We have 307 cameras and 3 servers right now, so we're kind of running over capacity. But that should be the worst of it.
So like second semester timeframe?
Yes.
Dave, do you need any ongoing support, software maintenance or anything from outside services for these?
Well, the installation will be done by outside services,
Yeah.
yes. And actually the network cabling as well. The
Okay.
all-enough network cabling.
But server support, ongoing maintenance, you're all
We
set?
build that into our team, and then
Okay.
we have a support contract with the Vigilon.
Okay.
as well for the software.
Great.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 6.5, this is a bandsaw purchase. Mr. Pruitt?
Yeah, and just to add a bit of detail to this, both 6.5 and 6.6, if approved by you this evening, will come through 61C funding. 61C funding is designated by the state for CTE equipment and does flow through our ESA. But I do want to point out for 6.5, there's a little play on wording there that was intentional. Item 6.5, we have not gained official approval from the ESA yet on this item, but we're seeking your approval in case it gets approved, so we can pull the trigger really quick because the supply chain has been tricky for us. So for 6.5, we did solicit quotes for a metal cutting bandsaw for the welding program, and we do recommend that if we do get that final approval for 61C funding from the ESA, then we will deliver a purchase order to Vanderzeel Machinery Sales of Alto, Michigan for a total price of $39,000. So we're seeking your permission to issue that purchase order should we gain approval in the near future.
Very good, thank you. I will accept a motion for item 6.5.
I vote we approve the purchase of the bandsaw.
Support.
6.5.
Motion by Mr. Hatfield, support by Mr. Lauterbach. Any additional discussion regarding item 6.5?
So you have to say if in the motion?
We approve it if the ESA approves it?
If we get the money.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to, so what you're doing is proving us to purchase, but we can always decide not to or go. So
Okay.
you would technically be okay.
One other question, just looking at the picture again, safety came to mind. So whenever we've ordered like table saws for the wood shop in the past, they come with saw stop and everything on them. How are we protecting the kids that are using this one? Because it makes it significantly different, right?
Yeah, my understanding is like with all equipment in the initial safety training, students go through an assessment and the instructor signs them off to use it. I didn't look at the pictures, but I'm sure if we need to purchase additional guards, we will do that. Yeah.
Great.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next up, we're getting to the end of these. Item 6.6, this is shear purchase.
Yeah, so unlike item 6.5, this has already been approved by the Midland ESA, so this one, if you do approve this evening, we can go ahead and order. We did solicit quotes for a shear for the welding program. We do recommend that the purchase order for the equipment be issued to Air Gas of Midland for a total price of $75,855.
Okay, thank you. I will accept the motion for item 6.6.
Move adoption of item 6.6, the issuance of the purchase order for the shear for $75,855.
Support. Motion by Mr. Lauterbach, support by Mr. Hatfield. Any additional discussion for item 6.6? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. And I think our last action item is gifts. Item 6.7 totaling $13,000.
Yes, because of the amount of these gifts, over $5,000 individually, we require your action to accept them on behalf of the Midland Public Schools. Both are for Dow High, one from the band boosters, and the other was by the A.H. Nicholas Project to fund 7 teams. For the boosters, that was a donation of $6,000. The Nicholas Project, $7,000, for a grand total of $13,000, requiring your acceptance this evening.
Very good. I will accept the motion for item 6.7.
So moved.
Support. Motion by Mr. Lauterbach, support by Mr. Roush. Any discussion regarding item 6.7? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, item 6.8, information only, gifts.
Yes, we wish to acknowledge 33 gifts totaling $15,397.64. They support a wide range of events and organizations from Kindness Week to BPA to the Northeast Unified Team. And as is tradition, all donors will be acknowledged in the broadcast credits and also through board correspondence. We appreciate their continued generosity.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have human resources, item 7.1, Mr. Jaster.
Thank you again. The board and staff extend their deepest sympathy to the families of the following former MPS employees. First, Miss Marilyn Scotty Cross passed away on November 24th, 2022. Marilyn was a teacher for Midland Public Schools. She retired in 2000, or in the year 2000, with 20 years of service. Next, Mr. Terry Klaus passed away November 27th, 2022. Terry was a plumber for Midland Public Schools, retired in 1996 with 30 years of service. And lastly, Mr. Jerry Schultz passed away December 10th, 2022. Jerry was a social studies teacher for Midland Public Schools, retired in 1997, 27 years of service years.
Thank you. And just to be clear with the Human Resources, there were no committee minutes to read as there were no meetings held. Next up, item 8.1, information letters to the Board of Education from the individuals listed. Item 9, scheduled activities. We'll list out our remaining, well, this is our last board meeting for the year, so we have our upcoming board meetings for next year. Please note the January 9th meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. because that's our organizational meeting. Finally, are there any points of clarification, anything we talked about tonight before I turn the floor over to Mr. Sherrill?
I think it's important to correct the record on one thing. We do not take action in
Thank
closed
you, Phil.
session. It would be illegal for us to do so, and just want to correct the record on that.
Thank you.
I was going to do the same, and I'll add also that my Twitter account was opened in 2012 before I was ever an employee of the school district. It is clearly my own personal account, and I'm allowed to have my own personal opinions. So, and I didn't endorse anybody. I retweeted an account. So I'm not going to stand for the false narratives that get put up in public comment. Series 3 bond sale is set to go this spring. It allows us to go out, potentially to ask for a zero bound increase in 2024. Which would continue the building project. So I think it's real important to look at the structure of that as we work through Series 3 bond sales, which is $8.3 million was approved in the 2014 vote by the citizens. Is predominantly for technology and busing. January 9th, remind all of your organizational meetings at 6:30. Shouldn't take us very long. A few bank depositories, some legal firms, and then setting the officers. And we'll roll right into that, from that into the regular meeting. There is no longer a requirement to have two separate meetings. So if the meeting was to, the organizational meeting was done quick, or we could start a regular meeting before 7, so I want everyone to notice that portion of it. Facility audit's going to be coming to you along with that series bond sale. I think it gives you a lot of discussion to talk about going out for the zero increase, continue upgrading your facilities as you go forward. So instead of today that we put some really nice fixtures and polish and fix some things up on some old buildings, but there's a lot more still to do out there. And I think that's pretty accurate on most of the buildings that we have in there. Along with that, though, I'll say that the bond did make our buildings very energy efficient, which is the theme of the 2014 bond. Every building has achieved Energy Star rating except for Northeast, which we know why that is, because we expect that building to come offline in a short period of time. That's all I have for you.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, thank you everybody who stuck around with us. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Everybody in this room, Happy New Year. And with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Hatfield. And we're losing Patrick.
Should have supported all I could.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I don't want to make it about me. It's about the kids, right? Tonight's my last meeting. It's been 6 years. I spent
At least twice, so I was trying to think it was. So
yeah, it's been 6 years. I started. We were doing public committee input meetings to try to figure out how to spend the amount of money the best way. And from where we are there to 2 floods and a pandemic to where we are now, it's been an interesting ride. My pleasure to serve the community. Grateful for all the support, all the wonderful people I've worked with. Continue to work with. If you need anything, you know I'm always here. And so it's humbling this type of work and service, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for January because we're going to welcome Jen. And with that, if there are no other objections to our adjournment, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.